Welcome back to the Kian and the Prez show. We want to show you off first our cool merch. Look at that awesome logo. We got this hat. We got this shirt. Comment in the section on YouTube if you would like to get some merch and support the show. We would love it. Also, we had someone comment last week and they wanted us to include our rankings, or not our rankings, but our records for the season, which we have, as you can see on the screen, and then what we did last week. But this week is a special show. It's the first time we've done it this year, and it's our power rankings. We're going to do it 3 or 4 times throughout the year. It's hard to get a good gauge doing power rankings after week 1 or whatever. I like to do it through, big periods. We have some swings between the power rankings, some change. Every week things may not change. Early in the season, you're still trying to feel everything out. So I think we have a decent barometer for what's going on in the league. So first, we're going to do our top 10 power rankings for this year. And then we're going to do the picks for this week. And we're just going to do quick hits for all the picks because we're going to show our power rankings. And then next week, we'll go back to the regular format. All right. So I'll start first. We're going to go 10 to 1 power rankings. My number 10 team is the Atlanta Falcons, leaders in the NFC South. Let me fix for you. Leaders in the NFC South. I think that their offense is going to continuously get better. Obviously, Kirk throwing for 500 yards is great. I think they really need to work on Bijan in the offense. If they can't get him being a big part of the running game, I think they need to work on him in the passing game. Use him more like Jahmyr Gibbs was used last year. Do some more Texas routes. Maybe do some more stuff in the slot. Maybe some quick swing passes out to him. He's a weapon, and I think they need to use him. Obviously, they got Kyle Pitts more involved. But anyways, I think their offense is going to be good. Defense will be a work in progress. But I got them at number 10.
Okay, at number 10 for me, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers are a pretty good team, and they've played well. They lost last week. I feel like they could have won. But their defense has been pretty good mostly, and I think they can win some games. I think they can go 9-8. They've just got to play better. I guess. Think when they get some more players back from injury, hopefully Roman Wilson, the third-round rookie, will be able to play. I think their offense will play better, and they'll be able to run the ball and pass the ball even better. Hopefully Justin Fields continues to play well, and I think they're a pretty good team, but they lost last week, so I have them at number 10.
All right, number 9. I also have the Steelers. Well, not also as 10, but they're my number 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think their defense is playing fine. I think for most of the game last week against the Cowboys, they had their team in a position to win, and they just gave up that late touchdown on a 4th down. True. Problem with them is offensively. Fields has been playing decent enough, but I'm looking for them to really incorporate more play action pass, more rolling out, more diverse ways to get him on the move, and include people and crossing routes and stuff like that. I think this is a team that just needs to have some long drives, really run the football. Their issue is their offensive line. They've got some young pieces there, and obviously they've had a lot of injuries on their offensive line. So if they can figure that out, I think they'll stay in the top 10. Who do you got number 9, Kian?
At number 9, I have the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, so we swapped. Got it.
The Atlanta Falcons, they're currently winning the NFC South, and they have been winning some close games. I think last week was a pretty good win against the Buccaneers. They got a really great touchdown to Gaddarel Hodge. And the offense has been doing pretty good. Kirk Cousins has been playing well, and he played well last week. And I think that's how they're winning games. It's close, but they're winning, and that's what's important for them. Their defense needs to play well. They need to get more pressure. But they've been doing well, and I think they should be able to continue to win the NFC South unless they drop some games. But I don't think it doesn't look like that will happen right now. So I have them at number 9.
All right, number 8, I have the Buffalo Bills. 2 just rough performances. Obviously, 2 weeks ago against Baltimore, got blown out. Then last week, Josh Allen goes from 9 for 30 looked like he got concussed. NFL fix that, please. He shouldn't have gone back in the game. And just poor clock management. They just look like a little bit of a disaster right now. But they are in first in their division, and I still think they will win that division. I think they'll figure some things out. Obviously, having Shakir out is a problem. They've had a lot of injuries on defense. I think they'll bounce back in what I think is really a weak division, especially with what happened to Miami, and the Jets are a disaster. So I have number 8. I have the Buffalo Bills.
At number 8 for me, I have the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are they aren't winning the NFC North, but they're still a very good team, and I think they probably should be a wild card team this year. Their offense has been doing pretty good, and hopefully Jordan Love will be fully healthy this week, and they can play well and pass the ball well. Uh, and their defense should be decent, but they've been winning games and they've been playing very well. And they had a pretty good win against the Rams. The Rams haven't been amazing so far. They haven't been as great as they were last year. But Green Bay looks like a pretty good team, and it looks like they can potentially be close to a contender. It's just they're in a tough division. So I have them at 8.
And I have them at 7. And they have Xavier McKinney, and I think he's probably the early clubhouse leader for Defensive Player of the Year. 6 turnovers, pretty ridiculous this early in the season. 5 picks and a fumble recovery. Obviously, really helping their ball hawk defense that didn't really get a lot of turnovers last year, and they're getting him a bunch now. Jordan Love's still not fully 100%. I feel like when he's back to 100%, I feel like they're going to be able to continue to run the ball with Josh Jacobs and really get it to all their weapons. This division is going to be a dogfight down to the very end with the Lions and the Vikings, and let's not forget about the Chicago Bears. They all have winning records, clearly the best division of football. But number 7, I have the Green Bay Packers. I think they'll continually be fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah. At number 7 for me, I have the Buffalo Bills. They've had 2 tough losses, and they've made a lot of mistakes, and it's been tough for them. But I think they have good quarterback, they have decent receiving room, and their offense should be pretty good. It wasn't great last year. Josh Allen did not throw. He didn't have a very good completion percentage, and might have been a bit of a questionable decision to not run the ball and try to take it to overtime, which may have cost them the game. But I think we've seen how good the Buffalo Bills can be, and if the last 2 games are just kind of flukes, I guess, I think they can still be the best team in the AFC East, definitely, and they can still be a contender if they just bounce back this week with a win.
All right. Number 6, I have the Washington Commanders. Everybody's surprised. I think people thought this team would be a little improved. Count me one of those people that didn't think they would be this good, leading the NFC East. And, to start off the season, I thought maybe they'd have one of the worst defenses in the league. You know what makes a defense look good? A high-powered offense. And when other teams are behind and they're trying to catch up to that offense, they make mistakes, they become one-dimensional, and that lets the defense game plan better and play better. And that's what's happened, especially the last couple of weeks. The Commanders have dominated the competition and gotten to out these leads, and the defense has been able to close the job down because they're up by 2 scores. So their game plan is working. They have a tough matchup this week against the top-tier team. We'll see how they do, and a team that probably offensively can match them. So I think the Commanders are the story of the NFL. Jaden Daniels obviously clearly running away with the Rookie of the Year award right now. He does play Caleb Williams in a couple weeks, so who knows what happens there. We'll see. But right now, Washington Commanders, what a story, and I have them at number 6.
I also have the Commanders at number 6. They've just been playing very well, and they've been winning lots of games. They don't look at all like the Commanders of last year, but maybe that's because they have a really great quarterback now, and they've been able to make so many plays on offense. Jane Daniels has been making plays with his feet and running the ball well. Brian Robinson has been scoring a lot, and Jane Daniels has been passing the ball well, and it just I feel like the games that the Commanders are going to lose it's because it's a shootout, and their defense maybe doesn't play well enough to stop an opposing team. And the defense doesn't look great on paper, but it hasn't been the biggest problem for them. But I think they're still a great team, and they still should be able to win a lot of games this year. So I have them at 6.
All right, my number 5 team is the Baltimore Ravens. If you take out that week 2 loss to the Raiders, where maybe they're just hanging over from that loss to the Chiefs, you got to remember how big that Chiefs game was for the Ravens. They blew out that AFC Championship game, and they know it more than anybody else. They should have beat the Chiefs in the AFC title game. Their game plan was atrocious, and they had all offseason to think about it. And then they played week 1. And then they go to Kansas City, and they lose by a toe. I think that was a hangover for them in week 2. Since then, they've looked much more like the Ravens we think. I think they still have some defensive issues, especially in the back end, and they're still trying to figure out the personnel there, giving up a lot of passing yards. But I think Baltimore offensively with Derrick Henry, and Lamar looking almost better than he did last year when he won the MVP. I think they're going to be a team to reckon with in the AFC down the stretch. And let's be honest, right now there isn't a lot of great teams in the AFC, or teams playing well in the AFC. So, anyways, I have Baltimore at number 5.
Okay, at number 5 for me is the Houston Texans. I think this team could be even higher on my list, but the Texans, they're still becoming a contender, and we haven't really seen them be a contender except for last year and the start of this year. And they've just been doing great, and they beat the Buffalo Bills. It was a close game, but they won against a team that has looked pretty good, and I think that just proves they should be in the top 5, and they should be considered even a Super Bowl contender, an AFC Championship contender. And their offense has been great. Hopefully Joe Mixon can come back soon, and their run game can be much better. But I think this team is just playing very well and is pretty complete. So I have them in the top 5 to maybe rise up even more.
All right, my number 4 is the Houston Texans. Nico Collins injury, going on IR, rough. But they've played a tough stretch of games. They've had some tough opponents. And offensively, I don't think they're playing as great as they would. The injuries to the running backs have hurt, so the running game has kind of suffered, kind of making them a little one-dimensional. And I'm really curious to see how their offense is going to be with Nico out. I really think he is the one that really opens things up for them. But they do have Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, obviously, and Dalton Schultz. They have good pieces. And I think DeMeco Ryans is really good about game planning the defense. So I think they're going to clearly win their division. I don't think there's any competition for them there. And I think they'll be a team we see deep in the playoffs later this year. All right, who do you have number 4, Kian?
At number 4, I have the Detroit Lions. The Lions were on bye last week, so we didn't really get to see, an update from them. But in week 4, I think they beat the Seahawks, and their offense has just looked very good, just like it was last year. And they're just a very difficult team to beat because they're great passing the ball and they're great running the ball, and there's not much you can do. If you game plan for one, they're gonna beat you with the other. And their defense is still improving, and I think the weakness is their pass defense is still trying to figure out how to not draw or make penalties, and I think that's really the only weakness on this team. Other than that, they are one of the best teams in the NFC North, and they probably should be the winner of the NFC North. But another team has been overperforming, or maybe they're just really that great. So I have the Lions at 4.
All right, I had the Lions at 3. I think if you take out their Week 2 game against the Buccaneers, where they outgained the Buccaneers almost 2-1, and kind of blew that game, they'd be undefeated. We'd have two teams in the NFC North without a loss. It's very plausible. Every other game they were pretty much in control of. I think we haven't seen Detroit play at their best yet. I think I'm agree with you. I think they figure out their defense, especially the back end, as those young players really gel and get better. I think that will be fine. I think their pass rush is continuing to get better. I think Aiden Hutchinson has been a man on fire as they move him around the defensive line. And if they just, continue to lean on that run game that is really their bread and butter, and the development of Jamison Williams, they have a lot of things going right for them. And
Yeah.
I still think they could be the class of the NFC. All right, Kim, who do you have at number 3?
At number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I think their offense has just been so great, and Derrick Henry has been really amazing in the past few games, as we expected. And I think that's what this team needed: a great run game, a great run back to complement Lamar Jackson, and who has been great passing the ball. And I think that is their strength right now. Their defense was great last year, and they've got a lot of great players there. And Nate Wiggins, their first round pick, has looked pretty good so far. So I think this team is very good. One of the best teams in the AFC. They've been challenged a little bit, but I think they're great. And now we will get to see the Ravens that were the best team in the AFC last year, but maybe even better, maybe a little worse in some parts. But I still think they are the third best team in the NFL.
All right, number 2 is maybe the second surprise. I think this team, everybody knew about how good their coaching staff was, but there were questions about certain areas of their personnel. But their coaching is really shining, and that is the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin O'Connell is doing things with Sam Darnold, and he has a cohort in Brian Flores that is getting the most out of every piece of that defense. Their defense has a old secondary: Stephon Gilmore, Harrison Smith, Shaq Griffin. These aren't young players. They're staying healthy. They're playing tough, and they're getting turnovers. 3 picks of Aaron Rodgers last week. But they're smart. They're veterans. They know what to do. They know their jobs, and they're coachable. Lesson to all out there: be coachable. I think this team, as long as it can stay healthy, depth is an issue, especially in that secondary. Those guys have to stay healthy. There's quite a skill fall off after those guys. If their offensive line can continue to protect Sam Darnold, there's no limits to this team. I just think their coaching staff is that good, and I'm excited for Minnesota fans. Number 2, I have the Vikings.
At number 2 for me, I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
At 2? Ooh.
I think the Chiefs have been really great. I think it's a little bit of a toss-up between the number 1 team for me and the number 2 team. And the Chiefs have been just as great as last year. They've had some close games, but they've won all of them. They're undefeated, and they're just doing everything right, I think. And I don't know how to beat this team. I think they're really the most complete team. So the Chiefs are just really great at everything.
All right, my number 1 is the Chiefs, 2-time defending champs that are undefeated. Their defense is their strength right now. Their offense obviously has had a rash of injuries. Pacheco, Rashee Rice. But they bounced back. And the key is Patrick Mahomes is there. Travis Kelce is there. There are 3 interior offensive linemen who are the stabilizing force in that offense are all there. And Andy Reid, of course. But Steve Spagnuolo, what he's done with that defense, really taken a bunch of young draft picks, which have, Brett Veach, the GM, awesome job of developing that defense, and then Chris Jones, who's a wrecker. So there's not the scary part about the Chiefs is they're 5-0, they're going on a bye, but they just had the toughest part of their schedule for them. They haven't really played, except for the Chargers, too many divisional games, which the division is pretty weak. So I don't know when they're going to lose. That's scary. Who do you got number one, Kian?
At number one, I have the Minnesota Vikings.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just Minnesota has been really good, and their offense has been great, passing the ball, and I mean Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson both having great seasons. The defense has been playing good enough. I think there are some holes there, like the interior defensive line doesn't look great, and you don't really have franchise cornerbacks. But that hasn't been really a problem for the Minnesota Vikings, and they've been able to get the lead early in games, and they're scoring a lot, and that's tough to beat. The only problem with the Minnesota Vikings is they haven't really been able to keep their lead in the second half. They've really just won by scoring so much in the first half that teams just can't catch up with them. And if that continues, the Vikings will go undefeated. But I think they will fix that, and the Vikings will score even more, and their defense will still play well, and Brian Flores will still have great plays and great schemes. So I have the Vikings at number one, although they might only be number two, but I think they're the best.
Okay. All right, now time for a quick picks this week. Try to improve on our last couple weeks. But here we go. Let's get started. Thursday night, San Francisco, Seattle battle for first place in the NFC West. I think the 49ers are pissed. They've lost bad games. I think Seattle is a mess, but they're also injured. I think this game will be close. I think San Francisco just has the edge. Give me the 49ers.
Yeah, San Francisco playing a lot of NFC West rivals recently. And Seattle and San Francisco. This is a short week, so I think Seattle's going to have a tough time with this game. They did not look good last week, and I think San Francisco will win this one, sadly.
All right, Bears and Jacksonville in London. Jacksonville's second home. I know the Jacksonville's got their first win last week. The defense did not look great, giving up a bunch of yards to the old Joe Flacco. I got the Bears. Most importantly, their defense playing well overseas and picking off Trevor Lawrence a couple times. Give me the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears have improved a lot, and their defense has been playing well. Caleb Williams has been doing pretty good, and I think they're the better team overall, and they should just be better on both sides of the ball. So I have them winning.
I have the Packers over the Cardinals. I think the Packers are on the upswing. I think as they get healthier and play better, they're going to continue to win football games. And I think the Cardinals are bipolar. I don't know what team we're going to get every week, and I think this is an off week.
Yeah, Cardinals beat the 49ers last week, but I think the Packers will get this one. I think their offense will play well against the Cardinals' defense. I think they will score a lot. The Cardinals might do something crazy and somehow win this game, but I think the Packers should win this game by maybe 2 scores.
I think the Colts go into Tennessee and win easily. I think Joe Flacco has another standoff game. And maybe Anthony Richardson needs a little more time to heal. Maybe rest a little bit more for the Colts.
Yeah, I think the Colts are just a better team than the Titans. They're kind of mad that they lost last game. And if their offense does as well as they did last week, I think they should be able to win this one easily.
Houston demolishes New England. Drake May starts. Congratulations, Drake May. I hope you survive.
Yeah. Houston, I have them at 5 to continue to rise up the rankings, and I think this is going to be a blowout. So I don't. Yeah.
Tampa Bay over the Saints. Good luck to the Rattler, Mr. Spencer Rattler, in your first start. But I think Baker's going to show you the ropes, and the Bucs will take it.
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers have been a little weird recently, but I think they should be able to win this game. Saints lost last week. It might be close, but I think the Bucs will win this one.
The Eagles will take down the Browns. The Browns need to be put out of their misery at this point, like a wounded sad dog.
Eagles haven't been as good as I thought they were going to be this season, but the Browns have looked way much worse than I thought they were going to be. So the Eagles should be able to win this one.
I get the Ravens over the Commanders. I think this is probably the Sunday morning game of the week. Make sure you have this on your TV and enjoy the fireworks. But give me the Ravens.
Yeah, this could be a game to see if the Commanders are an actual contender. But I think this is a battle of great offenses. I think the Ravens will win this one. I think their defense looks a little. I think their defense seems like it should be a little bit better. So I think they will win.
Give me the Broncos over the Chargers. I'm taking that Broncos defense to beat up on that really damaged offensive line of the Chargers. The Chargers want to run the football. They want to dominate. Hard to do when your line is beat up. So give me the Broncos.
Yeah, I think this game will be pretty close. The Broncos have looked pretty good so far, but I think the Chargers are the better team overall. So I have them winning.
I think the Steelers are going to demolish the Raiders and Aiden O'Connell. I think T.J. Watt may get 3 sacks in this game.
Yeah, I think the Steelers are kind of mad at losing last week, and they will take it out on the Raiders.
The Lions are going to run the ball down the throat of the Dallas Cowboys over and over and over again. I think this will be a high-scoring game, though, because I do think Dallas will be able to throw the ball against that secondary of the Lions. But I'm going to take the Lions in this one.
Yeah, I think the Lions are a much better team, and I think they will be able to score a lot. I think the Cowboys might be able to pass the ball well and draw a few penalties against the Lions. I think Lions might do well against the Cowboys' running defense, but I don't know if that matters that much. I still have the Lions winning, but.
Give me the Falcons over the Panthers. I think that Mr. Bates is going to get a couple picks off Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I think this is also going to be a pretty easy win for the Falcons. I think they're the best team in the NFC South against the worst team in the NFC South. So I think Falcons will be able to score a lot and play good enough defense.
My upset of the week, but it's really not an upset because Cincinnati's only won 1 game. I'm taking the Giants. I think their offense and defensive lines are starting to come together and gel, and I think they're going to give Cincinnati Bengals a lot of trouble.
Yeah, the Giants looked pretty good last week, but the Bengals offense has been really good. This might be a pretty close game, but I think Cincinnati will take it.
Last for the week, Buffalo against the Jets. I think this would be a low-scoring game. I think both these teams are battered and bruised. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on with the Jets. And obviously, Buffalo is injured like crazy. So I'm going to say Buffalo avenges their weird Week 1 loss that they had in New York last year. But wins this a close game, 20-17.
Yeah, we're going to see the first game with the Jets without Robert Saleh, and I think the Bills will win this one. The Jets don't have Jordan Whitehead anymore, so I don't think Josh Allen will throw 3 interceptions, and he's been pretty great so far. So I have the Bills winning.
All right. That's all for this week. We appreciate you watching and appreciate the comments and suggestions. And have a great weekend enjoying football.